Here's how I feel about international students. The biggest gap today in the international education industry is the fact that there's a lot of students that are missing out on the ability to come to the US or Canada or other destinations for their studies because they just don't have access to the financing and the funding needed. MPOWER has been changing that in that we provide loans that don't require co-signer or collateral. Those are typically the obstacles for a lot of these students. And we like to think that we're making the market a lot bigger in that way, and enabling bright minds around the planet who otherwise wouldn't be able to come to the US or Canada. So MPOWER is very unique. Beyond not requiring co-signer or collateral and really basing our underwriting on a student's future potential, we're more than just a lender. I like to think that we actually invest in students. I was myself an international student from France to the US 25 years ago, and we really believe in a student's future potential. So for instance, our loans are all in US dollars and we disperse directly to the university. So there's no Forex fees associated with an MPOWER loan. There's also employer and tax benefits associated with our loans. We build a student's credit history in the US. And that is so key in order to get access to renting an apartment in the US. Employers do background checks on students that often involve the credit history. And so we build that credit history for students. And we provide a plethora of other support. For instance, we help with career guidance, visa guidance. Our mantra is we're by international students for international students. And if the student's successful, then we're successful. We started MPOWER financing because of our true belief in financial inclusion and the notion that a lot of students, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, were left out of a top education in the US or Canada, not because they didn't have the skills or the knowledge, but because they didn't have the money. And based on that, we developed our no cosigner, no collateral loan program. And we find that when we survey students, over 95% of them tell us that without a loan from MPOWER, they wouldn't be able to access their education. The number one word that comes out of thousands of Trustpilot reviews online is the word dream. MPOWER is making my dreams come true, my educational dreams come true. Sometimes I'd spoken to a lot of banks and I'd given up on my educational dreams. My parents didn't have collateral or weren't qualified co-signers. And then I found MPOWER, and now MPOWER has made my dreams come true. And so that's really inspiring for us. And we're really providing access to tens of thousands of students who otherwise would be left out. So it's a financial inclusion story. It's also an education inclusion story. MPOWER is a very data-driven company. We like to think of ourselves as a data company. The reason we're able to underwrite students is not because we have magical superpowers. I wish we did, but it's really because we have massively more data than any other company on the planet on students and their futures. A lot of things that we track are obviously the visa attainment rates, the graduation rates of our students, but also how many of them send money back home after graduation. For instance, we found in our impact report last year that 75% of students send money back home after they graduate. That's huge. We also track all the disciplines that they study, the schools that they're at. We track the amounts that they send back home. We track the FICO score increases that they have between the time they take a loan with MPOWER and then the time that they graduate. We track what other financial products they gain access to. So we're very, very invested in students. I like to say that we're not a lender to students, we're really an investor in students and their future. And so it's always important for us to track all the steps in the journey of that student and to be supportive throughout. You manage what you measure, and if we measure all these things, then we can better support the students. There's a lot of students we want to be able to help throughout the world. And there are some regions where we're very present today, and there's some regions that don't yet know about MPOWER as much. And so our vision is to continue doing more of the same. I joke that in a way, maybe we're the most boring company on the planet. 11 years ago, we started with this mission of financing international students and bright minds around the planet to achieve their full educational potential. 11 years later, we still do the same. And 11 years from now, we'll still be doing the same. There's a huge, huge opportunity. There's tens of thousands of minds that want to study in the US or Canada or other international student hubs, and we're there to enable them. So more of the same in the future, and hopefully with the same level of quality and dedication to students. We just crossed over 20,000 international students that we financed. And just to think about the impact of that and the ripple effect of that is really heartwarming. When I went to the US for my undergrad education, we had about 10,000 undergrad students on campus. And that felt like an enormous number of students around. And to think that we as a company have been able to help twice that many students is really, really exciting.